And that is exactly what we're gonna make. A 1-to-1 scale zombie Iron Man bust. It's FDM printed, as you can see, and everything is already printed out and ready to go. The first step is gonna be cleaning all the parts from the supports and sanding them down so they're ready for painting. But before we go with that, I have a big disclaimer to make, which is this is gonna be my first video, so the first time I actually show myself in front of the camera and the first time I actually speak this much English. So yeah, my skills are better at making good carbonara rather than speaking English. So let's hope for the best and let's go. So let's start. The first step, as I said, is gonna be cleaning all the supports, which I already did, as you can see on this piece, and then sanding it down and getting it ready for painting, which means I'm gonna use first 80 grit sandpaper, then 120, 240, 320, 400, and in the end the 800 one, so I get that smooth finish for the paint, actually for priming it. But so this process is gonna take me around a week, but for you luckily it's gonna be just a few seconds. And so yeah.
Years later.
Okay, it's been a few days, everything is sanded down, everything is ready for painting, but before we go with that, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna unite some of the pieces, mainly the skull piece and the chest piece. That's because it's gonna be easier to paint afterwards. In order to do that, I'm gonna use the soldering iron, which I feel like it gives me the most strength in the bond, because I can actually melt the plastic together. And so yeah, let's go ahead and let's start with the skull piece. Okay guys, so here are the skull pieces. I will first of all trim this down, so I'm gonna cut some of the pieces, because if not it won't fit very nicely inside the helmet. So first I'm gonna cut some of the pieces out, then I'm gonna put it together like this, as you can see, using my soldering iron. Okay, so and yeah, that's it. Our skull is ready. As you can see, one piece. Now let's go ahead and do the chest piece. Okay, so here's all the chest pieces, like this, this, and then this goes here, but actually I'm not gonna need this right now. Okay, so this is done. Now this is gonna be silver, so I will paint it separately, but luckily it just slides on like this. Okay, so here you go. You can simply take this out because I will paint it separately, as I said. So this is put together. Now let's go on with the next one. Okay, so now I'm also going to put together these two pieces so I can paint them together. So here we go. This one is done. Now that I've done this, I can go ahead and make all the damage to the bust. I will still use the soldering iron, but with a different tip. I will use a more pointy one so I can make all the details. I will then use also the heat gun so I can heat up some of this the spots and actually change the shape of it, make it more bent, make it more damaged. So yeah, let's go ahead and do all of that. Let's make some space for all the... Obviously, before I actually cut it, I will draw it out. So we can go ahead and start with this one. So as you can see, I am using the point of the tip to actually go underneath the first layer of the print. That way I can make these holes and make it look like something went through it. And I can also bring the top layer up so it looks, yeah, it looks cooler, you know. So basically what I'm doing now, I already shown on my last video, which was how I make my zombie Iron Man helmet. And that's just the head with the neck. The only thing that actually changes from that video is the paint part, because before this I was using spray cans for the paint, but now I changed all my colors and I'm using the airbrush, and it gives me a more realistic and shinier, more metallic looking paint. If you want, you can go check out that video, and you can see all the difference between the old version and this version. So now that the main cuts are made, I am going to actually separate these two pieces, the top layer of the print and the bottom layer of the print, so that I have the effect of the metal plates separating, which is pretty cool. Yep. As you can see, I've separated them a lot. I will then reshape this, okay, with the heat gun, but for now I'm gonna leave it like this. Okay, so now that the main shape is done, I'm gonna take the heat gun and I will heat up some spots and try to bend them in a cool way, let's say. There isn't really the right way to do it. I just move it around and find a shape that I like, you know. It does take a little bit of time to get hard again, so
That's what she said.
that's actually good for us because it gives me time to mold it as I like it. You know, just to make it look as if it's bent. Even just slightly like this, you'll see how much it brings it out with the paint. So, now, what I did with this, I have to do again with all the pieces. So, yeah, we've got a lot of work to do, let's get to it. Okay, so all the damage is done, everything is ready. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna prime everything. I'm gonna use a normal plastic primer, it does the job just fine. And while this is gonna dry, I'm gonna make the base for the bust. That way, when I'm gonna paint and I'm gonna unite all the pieces, I'm gonna be able to put it on the base. So that way it's gonna be just easier to make all the detailing that's left. So yeah, let's go ahead with the primer. Okay guys, while we wait for the primer to dry, I'm gonna make the base, which is a pretty straightforward process. I'm using these two pieces of wood. I already tinted them black. I used just a simple spray can. I'm gonna screw them together like this, and then I'm gonna take this 3D printed piece, which has this big hole, and that's where the bust, the internal structure of the bust is gonna slide in. And it's not just sliding in, but it's gonna lock onto the magnet. I don't know if you can see, but there's a hole for a strong magnet, and so that's what's gonna actually keep them together. So yeah, let's start with this. Okay, now that this is done and all the stone is glued on, as you can see, I'm gonna first of all protect my desk, and then I'm gonna use some vinyl glue, and I'm gonna put some sand, some black sand. Here you can see it. I'm gonna put it between all the stone and all these cracks, because I don't really like the wood. So yeah, let's go. this is done, everything is seems to be glued on. I'm gonna just let it rest for a few hours, that way it can dry nicely, and in the meantime I'm gonna cut this to measure, to put them all around like this, the border, and afterwards, when this is dry, I'm just gonna put these on, and that's it with the base. Okay guys, so as you can see, those the pieces that I cut, I now screwed them in. That way they aren't going nowhere. I don't like using glue on pieces like this, so I am using these little screws. I also do love, I don't know if you can see it, but I do love the bronze color. It looks very nice. So yeah, I did the first piece, now I'm gonna do all the others. Okay, so here we go. The base is basically ready. Okay guys, so that's done. Now we can go ahead with the painting. First of all, I'm gonna do the silver and the red, mainly because the silver is actually the base coat for the red. So I will mask out all the gold and I'll do the silver, then I will mask out all the silver and do the red, and afterwards I'll mask out also the red and do the gold. So yeah, let's start with that. And this is what it looks like after one thin coat, and it's gonna need like 3 or 4 to get that intense red. And yeah, let's keep going. Okay guys, so the red is done finally. Now I'm gonna take away all this tape and I'm gonna, as you can see, and now we're gonna cover all the red and the silver and we're gonna do the gold. One thing I do want to say is that, as you can see, there are a lot of imperfections in the print and in the paint itself. That's something that you actually do want to keep in this case, because it's going to be a completely destroyed and ruined bust. Obviously, if it wasn't, if it was like a brand new suit, a brand new Iron Man bust, then I would have got rid of all of them. But in this case, it makes way more sense to actually keep them, and they will just give you a lot more details in the final piece. Now I will mask out all the silver and the red parts. That way I can go ahead with my base for the gold, which will be obviously gloss black. And then after that I will airbrush my gold, which is not gold but polished brass. I'm using that, I prefer the look of it. So yeah, let's go ahead with that. So here we go, the gold is done. Okay. Another thing I did was just spraying white my skull. So now when I'm gonna do all the details for the bust, I will also do the details for the skull. Now what we're gonna do finally is assemble everything. We're gonna put it all together and we're gonna put it on the base. That way it's gonna be easier to make all the details and start with all the little things. Okay guys, so finally it's time to actually mount the internal structure to the bust. So this is a part of the internal structure that's gonna go inside the bust, and it's gonna go like this. Basically I have to glue it together like this. Let me check if this is right. Yes, looks good. So now I just have to glue them together. Okay, now that that's done, we can go forward, and these are the supports with the magnets already in place. I hope you can see it. These are for the shoulder pads, so they go in like this and like this. And now I'm gonna just glue in the shoulders. I said just a little bit of hot glue here and here. Okay, and then I'm gonna just put it like this. I'm gonna choose the right spot in which to fix it, and I think like this is gonna be fine. And now I just have to wait until the hot glue cools down. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait a little bit. Same thing, we go with the hot glue just to fix it in place. So let me see. Okay, so now I should be able to just slide it out like this, and as you can see, the support is fixed in place, and now I can go in and actually so yeah, now I am gluing it down the proper way with my soldering iron and some more hot glue, which I'll use in a bit. So now, as you can see, it's fixed in place, ready to go, and you can just go ahead and slide it in, and the magnet fixes it in place, and yeah, it's done. Now I'm gonna just, as I said, add a layer of I think foam inside the hole where the internal structure goes. That way it won't move like this, it will be fixed in place just as we want it. Now finally we can start with all the details, and first off I'm gonna take this nail filer. You can find this very easily, and you can also use some sandpaper. It's the same basically. I just use these because I prefer the fact that they're easier to hold. And but yeah, basically what you're gonna do is, usually I just take a chrome spray can and I spray just a little bit over the nail filer, and then I just start doing this. And I alternate by with using the chrome side and the clean side. It gives you a little bit of a different effect. And I'll just go all over the place and do this. I'm gonna scratch everything just like this in a random way. Obviously you don't want to give it a pattern, and yeah, you want to just scratch it all over the place and get a completely ruined effect. So yeah, I'm gonna do this for all the pieces, for the bust, for the head, for the neck, everything. Okay guys, now that I've done all the scratching, I want to make the lights, so the arc reactor and the eye, and for that I don't want a simple, simple light. I want something that looks broken. So I found these Halloween candles, I guess, and when you light them up, you can see they have this flickering effect, which is actually perfect for what I'm looking for. They have that broken look. So I'm gonna just strip everything down. I'm gonna take the circuit that's inside, I'm gonna add some cable extensions, and I'm gonna put the LED inside my arc reactor and inside the eye. So guys, as you can see, here's the LED. Now I'm just gonna detach it, and I'm gonna add some cable extensions. That way I can put it wherever I want. It's easier for me to actually move it around. I'm gonna keep everything else, the switch, this plastic thing. It just works, so I don't see why change it. And yeah. So here we go, it's ready. I put some electrical tape all around the cables. Everything works, as you can see. So yeah, now I'm gonna do the exact same for the other one. Okay guys, I'm done with these two. Now I'm gonna make the actual eye and the actual arc reactor. As far as the eye goes, I 3D printed the eye socket, as you can see. I glued on some plastic, which looks kinda like glass. And then I use some baking paper, which does amazing for the dissipation of the light. That way I don't get that pointy looking light, And I'm gonna just put these two together. I'm gonna put the LED right through here, and that's gonna be it for the eye. And then for the arc reactor, I'm gonna use this cone I 3D printed. I'm gonna put the LED right through here. I'm gonna still use the baking paper for the dissipation, and then I'm gonna use this, which is just some lens protective protection for the any camera, and this is actual glass, as you can see. I'm gonna break it, and I'm gonna put some just some vinyl glue on both sides. That way it's gonna fix it in place, and yeah, this is gonna look amazing, as you'll see. And obviously I will paint it silver. So yeah, let's start with that. Okay, so the eye is done. As you can see, it works just fine, and it's not entirely lit up, and it has this flickering effect, which just gives it this broken look to it. And I'm not gonna add it inside the helmet right away because I want to add some details all around here. So I'm gonna just put it aside for now and do that later. The light for the arc reactor is done. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna install this inside the bust. Here's the light, it works. Now I'm gonna take the actual glass. I have to crack it, I have to fix it in place, paint it, and only then I'm gonna glue it like this. So I have to break it now. I'm gonna just put this tissue over it. I'm gonna put a screwdriver where I want to break it. I'm gonna double check. So I don't want a perfectly central break. I want it to the side. Just a light tap until it breaks. Jesus. As you can see, it's actually pretty tough, but not tougher than me. And it just does not want to break. God damn it. I thought. Yeah. Well, maybe a little bit more than just a tap. So I think I'm actually gonna do it on the pavement because I don't want to break my desk, and this is way harder than I thought. Okay. Actually, it's perfect, as you can see. Now I'm gonna put some vinyl glue on both sides. That way it fixes it in place and it doesn't break further. Okay guys, so as you can see, I painted it. It's all broken down, it's painted, and now I'm just gonna glue it in like this. Okay, the arc reactor is done. Okay, what I'll be doing now is simply take some black acrylic like this one. I'll be mixing it with water so I get it nicely diluted. Then with a big brush just like this one, I'm gonna apply it like this all over. Get it nicely in there just like this. Okay, I let it sit for just a couple of seconds. And then with some tissue paper I take most of it off, dab it like this to get that nice dirty look. With this technique I'm gonna go, more in some places and less in other places. That way I get nice contrast and nice highlights. You don't want to get it all dark and dirty, you just want to go dark in the right spots. And now I'm gonna do the whole bust. Now I'll be cutting some of this wire mesh and adding it all over the bust. Okay guys, now I'm gonna add the last few pieces, last few cables, just to add some more details to the bust, and after that it's gonna be to the last couple of steps before it's actually done. Okay guys, we're in the end game. Now I'm gonna use this, which is a liquid metal paint. I'm gonna use a fine brush and I'm gonna paint this over the areas where I want some rust. Once this is dry, I'm gonna use this, which is the oxidant, and together they're gonna react and they're gonna give me a very nice, cool looking rust effect. Okay guys, so while the rust is still forming, I'm gonna go ahead with the next step, which will require me to actually keep clean my station. I'm gonna use some polystyrene, as you can see. It's already pretty dirty from my past projects, but it will do the work. Okay, so for this step I'm gonna mix some vinyl glue with some normal water and then just some sand, the normal kind, the brown one, with some black sand. And this is just gonna be another layer of dirt onto the bust. Okay guys, so basically everything is ready. Now all that's left to do is to mount everything together. I will also add this, which is some green foliage. I don't even know what it's called, but it looks really nice, you see. And after that, it's finally time for the big reveal. Well guys, here we have it. It's finally finished. I love how it came out. Hopefully you do too. This is bust number 3 out of 3, so it's gonna be my last one, and it's gonna be shipped to France within the next few days. I hope you liked the whole video and the whole process. I know it was a little bit all over the place, but as I said, it was my first one, so hopefully it's gonna get a little bit easier and better within the next few ones. Get subscribed if you want to see more. My next video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to do a resin print, and all I'm going to say about that is it took me 16 kilograms of resin to print out the whole statue, so you can imagine it's going to be something pretty big, so hopefully it goes well. But yeah, thanks for watching and see you next time.